morning, everybody, and welcome to your Diversity and Inclusion webinar today. We're delighted to have you with us. My name is Anna, and I'm going to be your host today and partly presenting as well. Just like to hand you over to Lindsay, who's just going to introduce herself also.
Thank you, Anna. Yeah, I'm delighted to be here today. Just a bit about me. I've got 10 years in the recruitment outsourcing industry, and it's the last 5 years that I've taken a professional interest in diversity and inclusion. And a lot of what we'll be covering today is what I've embedded previously with my clients across many different sectors. So I'm excited to share my experiences with you.
Thank you, Lindsay. So just before we get going, let's just talk a little bit about the Curve Group. So the Curve Group is the largest privately owned recruitment and HR outsource and consultancy provider in the UK. Our outsourced solutions are underpinned by a range of complementary specialist consultancy and project services, including change and exit management. And as you'll see, the dial here on the screen also shows you all of the other areas that we can support your business in. Our solutions can be figured to support businesses of all shapes and sizes, from startups to SMEs and challenger brands right through to the FTSE 250. We're very proud of what we do here at the Curve Group, and this is just a small selection of our awards that would in real life be sitting in our trophy cabinet. And as you can see, there's a wide variety of rewards that range everything from best customer focus all the way through to workplace wellbeing. So let's have a look at our aim of the webinar for today. What we're going to cover is a high-level overview of diversity and inclusion and its importance in the workplace. The starting point for those within recruitment and HR who want to ensure that they're on the right path to do this. Provide useful hints and tips and positive actions covering diversity and inclusion. And most of what we will share doesn't involve a cost investment, just a mind shift and some time investment. So what have we got coming up for you today? We're going to have a look at what is diversity and inclusion and why it is important. We're going to take a look at diversity and inclusion and the resourcing process, followed up by some really great positive actions that you can do. We're then going to look at being an inclusive employer. We're going to look at a couple of case studies, and finally we'll just talk you through the next steps. Lindsay, over to you.
Thank you, Anna. So what is diversity and inclusion? Diversity is all about recognising differences. Specifically in the workplace, this can relate to the 9 protected characteristics, which you can see there on the slide. These are also defined in the Equality Act of 2010. Inclusion is about creating an environment where everybody feels they can contribute and be their true selves at work. And this is when you really do get the best out of your employees. So as we move on now, we can see that there is a lovely lady called Verna Myers. Verna's an American thought leader in the field of diversity and inclusion. And I think she sums it up brilliantly in a way that we can all probably relate to. So diversity is being invited to the party and inclusion is being asked to dance. So why focus on diversity and inclusion? These are probably the reasons that you're already aware of, and that's why you're here with us today. These are the overarching reasons as to why a business should have a plan around D&I. And that's all about raising awareness of the protected characteristics, which can help protect you from discrimination, ensuring that your business is legally compliant, and that you're embedding best practice across all of your policies. But beyond that, there are so many more benefits for businesses, which I'd like to talk through now. So different people from different backgrounds will bring with them different ideas. And it's this that brings an increased level of innovation and competitive advantage. A diverse workforce may also help you to appeal to a broader customer base and help you to enter new markets with the knowledge of the diverse staff that you have. And then there are the people benefits as well. So creating an inclusive culture will enhance well-being within your business and employee engagement. And that also enhances your employer brand and can be a factor which helps to reduce attrition as well. So before we look at the recruitment process in more detail, I think it's important to remember that integrating diversity and inclusion should never be the sole responsibility of recruitment or HR. To be successful, it needs to be an organisational wide mindset with leadership accountability as well. So there are some simple actions that you can take to ensure your business is on the right track, and then you can do that in conjunction with gaining leadership buy-in as well. So we'll move on to look now at the recruitment process in more detail. So we will look at the process as it would run through. So if we start with advertising, this is an opportunity to really think about language that you're using. It's important to ensure that your adverts appeal to a broad audience and don't subconsciously turn off women. And there are loads of great free tools out there like Gender Decoders and Grammarly that can help you to balance the language and neutralise your adverts so that they do appeal to a broad range of talent. We'll move on now, and Anna will talk about role profiles.
So when you're looking at the role profile, let's have a look and focus on the outputs. So what will this person be expected to achieve? A skills list often means that women won't apply. This is the first opportunity to take the hiring manager on the diversity and inclusion journey, getting them to think outside the box in terms of what they've always recruited. Really get under the skin of what is the true essential versus what can be trained in order to perform the role. And don't be afraid to challenge their thinking.
Shortlisting. So if you are in a recruitment team, there are quite a few things that you can do around shortlisting, and the main focus is to just reduce bias in decision making. So firstly, you can redact your CVs, and that reduces any bias that hiring managers may make just based on a name alone. You can also have more than one person reviewing CVs. So again, having two different people's opinions on a CV means you're looking at it from two different perspectives, which again can help hiring managers to challenge each other and reduce bias in that process. And if you are a recruiter, it's also an opportunity where you can actually set up a call or a meeting with your hiring managers and actually walk through the CVs with them. You can inform them as to what's already come out of the conversations you've had with the candidates, what their strengths are, what they've achieved historically in their career, so that again the decision making on a CV is kept factual, rather than it being any bias from a hiring manager who might make generalisations about companies that people have worked at or education establishments that people have attended. So all of that just helps keep things really factual.
Thank you, Lindsay. So when we move through into the interview and assessment, the first thing to consider is any reasonable adjustments for the candidates. Just ensure that all candidate communications give the opportunity to them to request any adjustments to which they may require. Ensure balanced and diverse interview panels. Candidates feel more comfortable when there is a cross-representation on the interview panel. Move past the unconscious bias training and focus on the objective selection. 81% of employers recognise that bias may impact decision making, yet only 42% do something to address it. Ensure that hiring managers focus on matching demonstrated capability to a well-defined job description and avoid bringing irrelevant information about the candidates into the decision-making process. So now let's look at the final element, all around selection and onboarding.
Thanks, Anna. So selecting the right candidate drives high performance, and following these steps should set you on the right path. As you onboard new employees, it's also an opportunity to let them know that D&I matters to you as a business. And we'll move on now to look at some examples of that. Fab. Okay, so what does it mean to be an inclusive employer? It's all about creating a safe environment where everybody feels that they can be comfortable and be themselves at work. And the Cheshire Constabulary have got a brilliant example, and you can see their careers website, where they are looking at opportunities where they can inform potential candidates and potential employees that diversity and inclusion is important to them. So it's, I guess, in terms of being an inclusive employer, it's about looking for opportunities where you can share what's important to you and share your approach. And as we move on now, so again, these ideas are all based on businesses that maybe have a limited or no budget at all. So how can you become an inclusive employer, or at least share that you are an inclusive employer? So you can use your recruiter briefings and interviews. You can use these conversations with candidates as opportunities to give them examples and use storytelling to bring to life what hiring managers do and what goes on in the business that makes it an inclusive working environment. You can look at all of your candidate communications. So again, you can use your interview confirmations or offer letters and contract emails to share links to resources that might be on your business website. And this is also an opportunity to make sure you are offering candidates any reasonable adjustments that they need. And that will give them the confidence that from day one, inclusivity is important to you as a business. And finally, be smart and savvy about the information that you already have. Does your business use employee engagement surveys? If you've got good results, then share these with people. Find ways to share the information and your results with prospective candidates, whether that's through a bulletin or on your website. It's a great opportunity to show that you're already doing great things to be an inclusive employer.
Excellent, thank you, Lindsay. So what we're going to have a look now is just some real easy, quick, positive actions that you can make. So the first one is to create and embed a diversity and inclusion policy. Check the language, check in all of your advertisements, job descriptions, interview confirmation and offer letters. Create partnerships, Disability Confidence, Stonewall and Presidio, just a few to name a couple that you can work alongside. Local organisations and charities, lots of ways to create diversity, veterans, young offenders, carers, ambitious about autism, just loads of things that you can do to show how positive actions you're making. Introduce a mentoring scheme. Hiring manager and leadership education, the whole business must be on side to make D&I a success within your workplace. Interview panel cross-representation, as we've said, that will really help bring things to life as well. Storytelling and case studies. And understand your MI and data. You can't make a start until you know when you're starting from. So it's a really good thing to think about. Just to bring some of this to life now, what I'd like to do is just talk you through some case studies. So let's start with TSB. So I want to give you a feel of the pedigree in this space by sharing these. And really, it's just a couple of projects that we've been working on and have worked on in the past. So with TSB, the Curve Group were hired on a retained search basis to recruit 3 cohorts of relationship managers and senior team leaders across the country, totaling 45 full-time employees in total. And this was all for their new SME banking service. This was delivered as a defined recruitment project, and we managed and coordinated the entire end-to-end process on behalf of TSB. TSB also wanted a mix of male and female hires and were able to offer part-time flexible working contracts to encourage this. So all of the recruitment collateral and sourcing strategies were created to attract women and men. We monitored and reported on the gender mix throughout the entire project to ensure that we were on track to deliver the right blend of FTEs. And we hit the target split of 60-40 male to female ratio, which is what they had asked for.
Right, HSBC. We were engaged by HSBC to source a purely female top talent, and for 18 months we offered a female-only search function. And this was to balance out recruitment where internal applicants had been 100% male. Our work meant that they had a 50-50 male-female shortlist to select from. We provided reporting through each stage of the recruitment process, including reasons for dropouts and decisions made against female candidates. We also developed a senior private and confidential escalation route internally, and this was to challenge decisions against females that were not based on experience or interview performance. Finally, we delivered talent search and pooling programs for HSBC as well. And we identified female talent in middle management and leadership. But what we did was look at complementary sectors that could transfer into commercial banking, like wealth and retail.
Thank you. And just one more that I'd like to share with you, which is Coca-Cola European Partners. So as well as directly recruiting diverse workforces for our clients in the financial services space, we've also conducted a number of talent acquisition, working with HR functions as well, and audits and market mapping activities for clients to help them to attract a broader range of talent into their business. So for example, we were appointed by the talent acquisition team at Coca-Cola European Partners to conduct an unconscious bias audit of their end-to-end recruitment process through the lens of gender, race, and authenticity. At a high level, the audit found many areas where unconscious bias was present and needed to be addressed. The review also identified a number of more substantive opportunities for increasing diversity in attraction and selection. As a result of the recommendations that were put forward, the Coca-Cola European Partnership executive team have removed video interviewing from their assessment and selection process, as it was found to be resulting in unconscious bias on a physical appearance basis. A programme to regularly update hiring managers and train them on the bias-free hiring skills and practices has also been put in place. A central business steering committee has been established to ensure that activities that are intended to improve diversity and inclusion are subject to central oversight. These include running a summer intern programme, setting up apprenticeship schemes, developing schools, colleges and charity outreach programmes, running open events at sites, and creating diversity-focused LinkedIn and social media campaigns. So I hope that you'll agree, just those 3 examples give you some idea of how the Curve Group have worked with organisations to support their diversity and inclusion programmes. Lindsay.
Thank you. So what are the key takeaways? I think it's really important that as a business, you understand your baseline and look at the data that you have. Doing this will allow you to see goals that are specific to your business. And there's just some ideas here of things that you can look at as a starting point. So you could analyse your workforce demographics around age, gender or ethnicity. You can look at application demographics and start to think about where the gaps are in terms of your attraction and underrepresented groups. Or you can also analyse your recruitment process to look at where in the process you lose your diversity, and that in turn will help you to identify barriers to overcome. Another key takeaway is the leadership buy-in. It's really important to be truly successful in any D&I activities that you do get early adoption and buy-in from your business leadership team. And then finally, I think it's all about taking your hiring managers on a journey. It's about using every conversation that you have with them as an opportunity to challenge how they think and how they approach their decision making, because that is where you will uncover a lot of the bias that could potentially be blocking your diversity and inclusion. So as we think more longer term, you may be interested in creating a strategic roadmap or thinking about how you will tackle D&I on a longer term basis. So there's a guide here in terms of, I guess, 3 different pillars that you could look to achieve and think about where your business is and where you'd like to get to. So step 1 is all about compliance and being values driven. And that is very much the basis of what we've talked about today. Once you've covered all of that, step 2 is then where diversity and inclusion becomes part of the strategy, and it has leadership accountability. So you've worked really hard with your leadership team to now get them to the point where they are also accountable for D&I. And then finally, if you move into a mature model for D&I, it's about full integration across the business, where all policies are underpinned by diversity and inclusion.
Lovely, thank you very much. So that now brings us on to our question and answer session. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes just to see if any of you have got any questions. As you'll see on the screen now, you've got both my details and Lindsay's details. So if you'd rather reach out to us independently and just have a small chat with us around anything on your mind around diversity and inclusion, then please feel free to do so. Okay, I can't see any questions coming in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move forward and just conclude to this morning's session. So just a reminder that we can absolutely offer you a helping hand. We can audit your existing recruitment process. We can redesign your recruitment process to improve your diversity and inclusion. And we can embed and deliver a diversity and inclusion recruitment process on your behalf. And we'd be more than happy to do that for you. Over the coming months, we've got a number of other webinars coming up, and these include how to develop a successful induction process in your business, why harnessing HR data and analytics in your business is so invaluable, really, managing poor performance in your business and some practical strategies, and creating your own emerging talent and future leadership strategies. The how to develop a successful induction program is actually live on our website now, and we would love you to sign up. It's just a little free webinar, again, a little bit like this morning. So once again, I'd like to thank you for your time this morning. If you do have any final Q&As, now's the chance to do them, or alternatively, as I said, please do reach out to Lindsay or myself. It's been a pleasure having you on board this morning, and thank you very much.